Absolute strength is a quality that transcends all cultures in 2019. Whether it is shown by the strength of a disabled man walking for the first time or the top-level powerlifter pulling the winning deadlift at Worlds, we know that being strong is significant. Athletically, strength is showcased all the time by top-level collegiate and professional athletes attempting to one-up each other by posting videos on social media of themselves in the weight room training for their season, defining the success of an off-season by the amount of weight on the bar and teammates crowded around for an incredible feat of strength.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I wanted to make this video about misconception that I had when I first started training to improve my speed and increase my vertical jump. This misconception also happens to be one of the most frequently asked questions that I get from athletes, and it's how much do I have to squat in order to run a 440, or how much do I have to deadlift, or how strong do I have to be in order to jump 40 inches or run X, jump X. It's just a question that I get a lot, and athletes wonder how much does strength really affect their speed and their vertical ability. And don't worry, I know that this is something that can easily be misconstrued. I myself had the same misconception for a while. I thought, I saw athletes like Mike Trout, Saquon Barkley with the big quads, Adrian Peterson, Reggie Bush. Those guys were jacked when I was coming up as an athlete, and I thought, yeah, if I was as strong as they were, or as jacked as they were, as muscular, and had the leg power, that I'd be able to run as fast, jump as high, and just be as explosive. But at the end of the day, I know that that's not the case. If it really were the case, then the strongest pound for pound squatters or the athletes, bodybuilders with the most muscular legs would probably be the ones with all the speed, all the power, be at least the fastest athletes and highest jumpers in the world. And that definitely is not the case. In fact, a lot of those athletes are not really fast or can jump really high at all, relatively. Reason being is because the squat and most other exercises termed general strength training exercises don't really have much carryover at all outside of training your lower body to produce as much force as possible. Like, I know that sounds great and everything, but at the end of the day, a squat and running are two completely different exercises or movements from a movement perspective. Now, I know you came here for an answer to that question, and the best answer I could give you is it depends. It depends for you as an individual, as an athlete, how much strength you started with versus how much speed you started with, how much strength you need to gain. In my opinion, the best answer for somebody who's starting is to strive to try to squat 2 times your body weight. The reason I use 2 times your body weight is because odds are, if you're an amateur athlete or a relatively new athlete, say high school, college, and you have a 2 times body weight squat, in this case, squatting means hip crease below the knee. You probably have pretty good form. You've probably worked on some mobility and have gotten past some restrictions and have made some decent strength gains, unless you're a complete genetic freak, which in this case, I don't know why you'd be watching this video anyway, but odds are you should have a pretty good strength base and probably be able to produce enough force to be actually fast. In my opinion, I think this is a good place to start. To use myself as an example, in the coming weeks leading up to my first dunk, I didn't squat more than 315. I don't think I squatted 315 the entire training cycle. However, I don't think my training max was anywhere near even 350. And for somebody who was like 165 pounds at the time, that's barely over double my body weight. Also, during this whole training cycle, I wasn't squatting, deadlifting, or doing power cleans more than once a week. I also think that those are the only 3 general strength training exercises that I really did. I think those 3 exercises are kind of the bare basics that you need in order to start training to improve your force development from a strength perspective. So if you're an athlete just looking for new things to do and just a way to get stronger, I would definitely start there. But yeah, as it turned out, once a week for those lifts was good enough for me to make gains and set PRs in both the 40 and the vertical and get my first dunk. So that was pretty cool. I definitely am not saying though that you need to train all those lifts or the strength lifts once a week frequency by any means. I think you could definitely train multiple times a week and still make speed and jumping gains. Like, this is just kind of what worked for me. Speaking off of experience though, at least for me, I know that when I squat twice or more per week, it's harder for me to free up restrictions due to my tissues getting tight, my muscles just getting real stiff. For those of you who squat and deadlift on powerlifting programs, you know what this feels like. Your back gets tight, your core gets tight, you kind of walk around stiff as a board most of the day. And unless you're doing a ton of mobility work, it's hard to really move explosively. A good approach I would recommend somebody who thinks they need to gain strength or gain strength in the squat in order to get faster would be to start a powerlifting or general strength training cycle for about 4 to 8 weeks. I would run that, and while doing that, try to maintain speed and qualities of being explosive as best that you can. Then after that, run another 4 to 8 week block with decreased frequency in the squat or the power lifts, and then increase the frequency of sprinting, explosive work, and jump training. This, in my opinion, is a good way to separate your training into separate blocks. That way you focus on different qualities. You would focus on strength and force development in the first block, and the second block would be focused on speed and sprint technique. So lastly, I'll leave you with the analogy that I use to kind of make sense of all of this. I like to think as the heavy squats and strength work as almost like building the potential for us to run faster and jump higher, almost like building an engine. And then the more specific skill of speed training is almost like turning the engine on and teaching the engine how to work correctly. I hope that analogy makes sense, and I hope that this video is able to get you going in the right direction in terms of applying strength work to your speed and sprint training. As always, thank you again for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. If you have a unique experience about how strength training has affected your speed training, please leave it in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. And as always, thank you again. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.